So, once again, we have the domain is the set of inputs, the range is the set of outputs, and what if I plug in a -2? Here we plug it in. What's 2 times -2? Good, now go down another 1. No, -3 actually goes up. -5. What's 2 times -1? 2 times -1. -2. Go down another 1. -3. So this is a picture of my function. And there's so many different ways to represent a function. One of them, as it says here, is as a picture. But that's not the only way. We can do it as a set of ordered pairs. If -2 is the input, what is the output? Guys, look at the picture. If -2 is the input, what is the output? -5, good. If -1 is the input, what's the output? -3. If 0 is the input, what's the output? -1. If 1 is the input, what's the output? 1. If 2 is the input, what's the output? 3. And that would be as a set of ordered pairs. This picture, this set of ordered pairs, same exact thing. Just a different way to represent it. If you're walking down the street and your friend says, hey, or if your friend says, hi, your friend says, howdy, your friend says, hola, it's all the same thing. Just different ways of saying hi. Well, these are different ways of showing you a function. This is as a picture, down here is as a set of ordered pairs. Now, another way to do this is as a table. If I do it as a table, my x's were -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2, and my outputs were -5, -3, -1, 1, and 3. So this is another way to represent a function. So we have a picture, which was over here. We have a set of ordered pairs, which is over here. We have as a table. And the last way we can do it that we're going to talk about is as a set of ordered pairs. Now, as a set of ordered pairs, it's a graph. And this particular graph will look like this. -2, -5, -1, -3, 0, -1, 1, 1, 2, 3. Now, doesn't that look like the lines you were just graphing in the last chapter? Now, the name of this function that we just did before was f of x equals 2x minus 1, or y equals 2x minus 1. We said that's the same exact thing, Rach. So if you look at this, couldn't we also look at this one here as being like y equals mx plus b, what we just did a whole bunch of work with? And if we look at this, what is the y-intercept? -1, look, -1. What's the slope? Up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. And notice, this guy here goes up by 2's, and this guy here goes up by 1's. So we can see the same, we can see the same exact thing going on in the table. And over the course of the next couple of days, what we're going to do is continue to learn more and more about this and different ways to represent functions and what their graphs look like. Okay, so what I would like you to do right now, and you can talk to the person sitting next to you if you want, is, oh, what did I say as the input here? This is yesterday's sheet. You lost it. I could get you another copy. All right, I want you to do the same domain from -2 to 2, and I want you to do the table, the picture, the set of ordered pairs. I don't care what order you do them in, but I want you to write them with your group. Get started on that now, and in about 2-3 minutes I will put the results up on the board. Okay, get started. Who lost it? You did? There you go. Okay, you lost it too? Yeah, you gotta do all of them. Okay.
When?
Okay, guys, get started on that. You got about 3 minutes, then I'm going to go around and check it off with you. Just draw in the pictures, the table, the set of ordered pairs, and the picture itself. Right there. That should be -1. 1 goes to -1. No, you gotta plug these things in, like, for example, 3 times 0 is 0, -4 is -4. Okay? So you're doing it the right way, but your calculations are wrong. Talk to Ishi, he'll help you with those calculations. No, the -2 doesn't count the -2. All right, and that should, are these lines or are they negatives? No, no. Talk to someone about how to get those in.
Where'd you get this from? That was you. You did? He wrote that for you. What's my favorite? I don't have mine. These numbers. What Friday did we do? This is mine. Got it.
Okay, very quickly, ready? I'm going to do it as a table first. X, Y, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. Hey, look. If I plug in a -2, what is 3 times -2 minus 4? What's 3 times -2? -6. Now, what's -6 minus another 4? 10. -10. Now plug in a -1. What's 3 times -1? Guys, 3 times -1. -3 minus another 4. -4, good. What's 3 times 0? 0. What's 0 minus 4?
-4.
Oh, I put a 4 here instead of 7, sorry. What's 3 times 1? 3. What's 3 minus 4? -1, good. And what's 3 times 2?
Keep on forgetting we're in the negative.
6. What's 6 minus 4?
2.
2. So that gives me, as a picture, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. And over here, -10, -7, -4, -1, 2. What would it look like as a set of ordered pairs? 8. -2 goes with what? -1, good. -10, I'm sorry. -1 goes with what? -7, good. 0 goes with? -4, good. 1 goes with? -1. These are input-output pairs. What about if I have an input of 2? What's the output? 2. Okay, and then we could also graph them as a line. So today was all about how to write out a function. Hasta la vista, bye con Dios, toodaloo, ta-ta, arrivederci. Smile about a lot. Ciao, arrivederci, adios amigos, amigas. Cheerio, toodaloo, ta-ta. Okay, let's rock, guys. Taylor.
Yeah.
You didn't say that.
Like that?
Yep.
Oh!
What'd you get?
100. How many years wrong?
What? You got to go, no, She did that for a moment, so just put her books on the side of it.
Honestly,
Michael, yours now.
he's like a dog, he also looks like one.
Eric, pop squat.
That's gonna be really hard with moving because that's still wet everywhere on my desk. Oh wow, you have 9 more points than me. You're like obviously.
Don't quit so easy. You would have just wanted to solve the second variable. You had an equal. Yes.
You gotta pull out, man. You gotta pull out, you're just pushing it.
Isaac,
Dude, just keep it. You gotta make me talk.
getting there, right? I don't bitch you, you bitch.
See, like, I heard of these dodgeball courts. Just 'cause.
No.
Wait, where'd it go? Oh, that's nice.
You'll get it.
Oh, down here.
Was that the actual test?
Oh, that was the actual test.
Oh, you're right. Oh wow, by 9 points. You're such Albert Einstein. No, not at all. So what about that?
Okay. That's both places. I don't know then, show it to me later.
What is that?
He doesn't know who you are.
Oh, we didn't. I don't know how to solve the second variable. I know, neither do I screwed up.
No offense, does he know how you?
Right, and that cost you like upwards of 20 points.
I would've gotten 8.
And you'd have 71 if you'd have done the other one.
I would've known.
Okay, Maddie, Kim, and Kim are not here. Okay, so. Yeah.
I can't come tonight to the library.
No?
I have for Spanish.
I will see you tomorrow morning.
No, you're not to teach me. Forget it. That was Spanish. Like they, like
Anytime you're out for 5 days. No, not at all. You can spend for a whole year. Think about it. What if the kids showed up on school grounds with a gun? You think they're coming back in 20 days? Why? Hold it in. You're a big boy.
by not piece of
What?
I'm getting 800 right now.
I came and I was waiting, and there's so few people. Somebody said yeah, and I walked away. I was like,
It's somewhat bad. But then it's hard. You gotta read the message. You gotta read the message.
I used to see about your baseball game.
I was gonna do that, but I was probably gonna do something. And then I would have a high.
And it's not sharp on your face.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know.
I'm gonna see how much I call it like helicopter or something.
Last time I checked, I had 75.
Mine was 50, but I feel like it's 75.
So that's
It's a
in the-
round
Like,
there.
real
I don't
opposite
know, they
check.
don't read.
Like, something.
No, like, it's not trying to suck at it.
I don't talk back.
It's in the parent
You
board.
don't suck at it. I mean, that,
My problem is if I tell you yours, every kid
I'm
knows
not
yours.
being nice to you. I'm telling you that you don't suck at it.
Okay,
Yeah.
No, I don't focus. I don't focus.
We're gonna talk about that one second of
I'm just saying.
your seat is very close to me in the back. I know that, that's why you're gonna be called.
We're talking about men.
No, it's just stop. Now, may I have everybody's attention, please?
Hey, this is vocabulary word.
Thank you so much. I would like to read through, if it's possible for me to do in a very brief time here. I'm hoping that they didn't start the marking period. Good. Here are test grades of students. In no particular order, you won't know who's who, that's why I'm doing this. 78, 76, 51, 100, 58, 95, 83, 98, 58, 21, 74, 35, 89, 19, 92, 80, 84, 74, 60, 98, 66, 51, 97, 94, 50. You know how many 90s there were? There was even 100. And
I started it. I get credit for it.
now,
Give her an Oreo.
no, you know what I will do? Anybody who got a 90, do you want a Capri Sun? If you
Yeah.
got a 90, come up and get it.
Hey,
If you got a 90.
You missed my answer.
Yeah, but you're not gonna get a 90. You're not gonna get a 90. Forte, you want one?
I'll take this. I'll take this.
I'll get one.
Can I have it? I got none. I'm not taking this
I haven't seen you got an 80, I want a 90.
I have 800.
What happens if I get an 89?
I have
Not good enough. Okay,
No, give it back. He took my pencil. He's being a bad boy.
Calm down.
He took my pencil. It's just a pencil. But it's my stuff.
Shut up.
now, you know, I think there's a tendency on kids, or for kids, to think that when an adult says, Marston, that when an adult says that you can do something, to be like, yeah, what does that adult know? He's not like me. He's always been smart at math his whole life.
I always think about that.
And Lancaster, look up and follow him. And the truth of the matter is that I'm not gonna tell you, you're gonna tell you. Aaron, have you always been great at math?
No.
What did you get on your test?
98.
Stephen? Always in the other class? Well, I can tell you Stephen Baca has not always been good at math. You guys friends with Stephen?
Yeah.
So then you know he hasn't always been good at math. Stephen got a 98 on the test. Kayla has not always been great. She got 100. O'Dallas, 97. Brendan, 94.
Yeah, Brent's never.
There are many others who did very good jobs on the test. And the truth is, and I can think of two young men who would have passed if they would have just listened when they were told to learn how to find the other variable, And, well, you and James. And the truth of the matter is that the reason you failed is your laziness. That's just a fact, because you didn't feel like learning how to go do that second number. It was too much work for you.
It was difficult.
Oh, stop your whining, it wasn't difficult. Because these same people, don't take my word for it, the same people who have struggled in math all of their lives, you heard their grades. They proved it, I didn't. Now, the difference between success and failure is how you go about your business. It's not how many brain cells you're born with. It's not whether or not God made you a super genius. Now, the truth is that 1 in 1,000 people is born so smart that they never need to do any work. And to be honest with you, they're smarter than their teachers.
Me.
But for the rest of us, it's a matter of how hard you want to work, what price you are willing to pay. Do you want to be great at what you do? Now, I don't know, I don't want you to raise your hand here, but I want you to understand the point that I'm making. How many of you, when you graduate high school, think that you might want to go into college? Don't raise your hand, just think about it. I don't believe you're any better or any worse than any other kid. College is one option available to you. Perhaps you might say to yourself, you know what, I've always wanted to be a nurse. I want to go to some kind of school that teaches me how to be a nurse. Not necessarily a regular college, but a school that teaches me just about how to be a nurse. Which, by the way, you can make $100,000 a year doing.
You're a nurse?
Yes.
I thought you were a doctor.
It's one step below a
What did you
doctor.
say, 500,000?
I said 100,000.
Oh, I heard 500,000.
Now,
I'll be a nurse.
maybe that kind of thing doesn't light you up. Maybe you say, I don't want to be that. Well, some people, they like to tinker with their hands. They like to use their hands to do things. Maybe you want to be an auto mechanic, learn how to fix cars. Well, there's special schools that teach you how to do that. Next question. What about the possibilities of learning how to be like some kind of auto mechanic guy? The guy that knows how to fix cars when they're in collisions. Well, you may not realize it, but all of those kind of courses. Oh, here's another good one, an electrician. Electricians make great money. All of those courses, another one, airplane pilot. You don't have to go to college to be an airplane pilot. You learn how to fly planes. Now, all of those special skills require math. Some a lot, some a little. But I can tell you that in Suffolk County, those kind of classes run through BOCES, and they have courses approved by BOCES. And I am the guy in all of Suffolk County that they send the courses to make sure that the courses meet stringent mathematical requirements, and I have to sign off on it. And when I do that, they're then allowed to teach you it. So, at some point, math does become important. And I've also mentioned to a couple of my classes, I can't remember if I mentioned it to you guys or not, that I want you to shut that window all the way except for 3 inches. Thank you. When the other thing is this, I said to some of my classes that if you do the following 2 things, there's a 98% chance you never live in poverty, maybe even 99%. No, graduate high school and don't have a baby till you're married.
It's good.
You do those 2 things, you will never live in poverty. You'll always be okay. Now, half of the problem is graduating high school. The course you take after Math 8 is called algebra. If you don't pass algebra, you don't graduate high school. It's as simple as that. And by the way, you only have yourselves to blame. Because years ago, kids graduated high school, and teachers used to pass kids because they were nice kids.
Can you do that?
And they'd say, oh, look, this kid's a great kid. I'm gonna pass this kid. And specifically, when they graduated, the kids then tried to find a job. and they couldn't find jobs because they couldn't do math and they couldn't read and write English.
Wait.
So they sued their school districts,
And
They got paid.
and they won. They went to court and they said, you were supposed to show that you were supposed to teach us math, and you were supposed to teach us how to read and write. And you passed me, and I didn't know how to do math right. And I didn't know how to read and write properly. So by doing so, you put me out into the working world, and I can't get a job. And it's all your fault. And they won millions of dollars from school districts.
That's what I'm gonna buy.
So the way school districts handle it now, and this isn't just Patchogue Medford, this is all across the state, because the state makes the rules that we have to follow. The state said, okay, now you have to pass that Regents exam. And the minute you pass that Regents exam, you prove you can do math. And you also have to pass a Regents in English. And then you prove that you learn how to read and write English. And when you do that, then you can't sue the school districts anymore and say you don't know how to do math and you don't know how to read and write English. So if you don't pass that math class, you do not graduate. End of story. Now, if you don't graduate, you will earn $10,000 to $15,000 less a year than your friends who do graduate. And if you then go to one of those schools like I was telling you about for flying or for mechanics or for nursing, you'll make about 50 grand less a year than they will. So when you sit down and you think about why you're doing your work, when I see grades like 97, 100, 98, 94, 92, 88, 84, 85, and when I see 70s for kids who used to get 40s, I see kids who are getting with the program, who are starting to become what I call academically mature. They're starting to be the kinds of students they could be. Now, I don't think this class is boring. Now, I'm sure there are some times when it's boring. But as a whole, I don't think it's boring. And I think we laugh, and I think we have some fun. And along the way, what kind of grades do you get? For a lot of kids, better grades than they've ever gotten in their lives. And it's not because the class is bad. What has changed? You have changed. You are learning how to be a student. You're learning to be responsible. You don't need to go home and do math 24 hours a day. You don't have to dedicate your life to your math class. You simply need to be responsible. Every day when you go home, you need to just think a little bit about your future. By all means, hang out with your friends. By all means, if you want to play some video games, play some video games. If you want to go to wrestling practice, enjoy wrestling practice. Whatever it is you want to do, play a guitar, doesn't make a difference. But somewhere along the way, you remind yourself of the other things in life that are important to do that maybe aren't the most fun to do. And you find a way to get them done. And if you do that each and every single day, you are going to be successful in this world. You're always going to be around. The problem is the kid that says, it rejects that idea. The kid who says, yeah, that's bullcrap. That's not true. You ever get in fights with your parents about your grades? You wanna know why? Because your parents know how hard it is to work in this world. And they know the amount of money they make, and they look around and they see other people making more money than they make. Hey, listen, between me and you, it takes me, honestly, there's no way it takes me more than 2 hours to go through those courses, to approve the math in those courses. You know what I get paid to approve the course?
I'm gonna guess. 25,000.
Oh, God, no, I wish.
5,000.
1,000.
No, they pay me for the course.
5,000.
It doesn't matter how long.
How many courses?
Per one course is what I'm gonna say, because I usually get anywhere from 4 to 8 a year.
$600.
No,
5,000. 2,000.
250 bucks. They pay me $250 for something that takes between 1 and 2 hours to do. So I'm making anywhere from $250 an hour to $125 an hour.
A day?
An hour.
An hour, that's a lot.
Wait, so you make 200 and something dollars a
In
day?
an hour to do that job. I can make that.
Every single day? Wait.
No,
When
to do that particular
What
job.
we're talking about? Or are you talking about like?
This has nothing to do with my regular teaching career. This is work outside of teaching.
that'd be pretty good.
So,
Pay that much.
yeah, it's nice. You know, you go in, you sit down for a couple hours at the computer, you get it done. 2 weeks later, you open up your mailbox, it's a check for $1,000. It's pretty cool. Now, if you tell yourself, well, I don't want to do that schoolwork, I'd rather play video games. Or if you tell yourself, that's not important, I don't want to do that schoolwork, I just want to text my friends all day long. Or if you say any of those things and I don't want to do, then what happens is, you keep that up, and your friend is the one getting $1,000 check. And you're the one staying home saying, I have no money to go out.
I'll pay.
And your friend looks at the $1,000 and says, gee, I think I want to go to the Bahamas for the weekend.
$1,000
we can.
is $1,000 is not gonna get schoolwork.
Oh, yes, it is. I can tell you right now that my wife is spending 5 days in the Virgin Islands and staying at a top resort and going to my nephew's wedding for $1,500.
You just got.
I know that because I'm paying the bill.
Okay, so how much is the flight?
This.
I was just told $1,500 total package.
So that's around.
That's everything. It's round trip, it's staying at the hotel, it's a wedding gift, it's everything, 5 days.
That's pretty.
Hide it, I should hide it in like.
Room service is
That's cheap. How did I get this?
Now, so the decision is really very, very simple. Don't look at me, look at yourselves. And just say to yourself, I am so close. And even some of you guys that got 74, 72, 80, 60, and you say to yourself, you know, it's not that my grade was that bad, but tell the truth. Couldn't you have worked a little bit harder?
Yeah.
And if you had, wouldn't you be that next step up? Now,
I got mine.
that's really all you needed to do. Yeah, there's a great example. I'm looking at Anthony's paper. He loses 15 points on the substitution question. Can I ask, how many substitution questions did we do before the test? 12, 15, 18 of them? All you needed to do was the first step right, and you had a 65. And that's your fault. You, listen, hey, you, early in the year, I said to you, there is a very old saying in this world. You reap what you sow. And what it means is that you harvest what you plant.
Oh, like corn?
Yeah, if you go out and you go in a field, no, this is a really important thing to understand. Because, and it's, would you stop? Stop.
I'm not doing anything.
I don't want to hear your explanations though, I want to say what I'm saying. Just stop. Now, if you have a farm and you go out and you plant corn in a field in April, and it's time to harvest it in Lancaster, I'm very close to moving you because that's the third time in a minute I've looked and seen you looking toward Isaac. If you plant corn in the field in April, and it comes October and it's time to harvest the crop, what are you gonna be harvesting? You planted corn, what's gonna grow, guys? Corn. You're not gonna plant corn and suddenly cauliflower is gonna pop up. Or broccoli, or peas, or carrots. It's just not gonna happen. Likewise, if you don't plant the seeds of a good education in school, and then you suddenly expect to be successful when you get older, you're out of your mind. It's not going to happen. And by the way, the opposite is true too. If you spend, and again, it doesn't have to be all day, if you spend some time every day caring about your future and planting the seeds of a successful future, when the future arrives, do you think you're gonna be unsuccessful? No, you're gonna be okay. You're going to be successful. So, think about that statistic about 98 or 99% of the kids who, if they graduate high school, and if they wait till they're married to have a child, they'll never live in poverty. Well, the flip side of that is, if you have a kid before you're married, and if you don't graduate high school, then all of a sudden, the chances of living in poverty are much greater. That's a tough spot to live in. Hey, you know what? Here's a good one from my own life. You ready?
Yeah.
Alcoholism runs in my family. There are a lot of alcoholics in my family. And I don't drink. I never drink. I have had about 3 beers in my life. I have never smoked a cigarette in my life. I have never smoked a joint in my life.
That's also interesting.
I have never, ever done any illegal drugs of any kind in my entire life. And the reason I've never done it, there's a number of reasons. First off, I was hit by a drunk driver, they ruined my knees. My uncle was killed by a drunk driver. But the biggest reason, yes,
Wait, did you say he was killed?
shh, the biggest reason that I don't do it is because in my heart of heart, I know that alcoholism runs in my family. And I am very, very scared that if I was to begin drinking, that I would turn into an alcoholic. I watched cigarettes kill my dad. Almost kill my mom. These things are very dangerous. So I simply don't do them. And there are ways that you can kill yourself physically. There are ways that you can kill yourself spiritually. Oh, absolutely. You can suck the life right out of you. You know anybody who's like maybe 50, 60, 70 years old and they just have no joy in their lives? How depressing is that? How depressing is that? I watched my dad like that. My dad used to sit at the kitchen table watching reruns all night. And I just said, what a pathetic life. What a horrible life to have. If that's all there is to life is watching reruns of television shows, then your life stinks. There's so much more to life than that. So it can suck the spirit, the happiness, the joy out of your life. It can take away your ability to understand ultimate eternal realities and truths in your life. It can suck away anything in your life that can be good. And when you guys come to school, you have the opportunity to take control of your life. It's so ironic. You know what I wanted when I was your age? There were 2 things I wanted in my life. I wanted respect, and I wanted control of my own life. And school gives you both. Now, we may tell you what classes you have to take, but it's up to you how you're doing them. And as you get older, you get to choose what you take. But you have to decide that you're in control. People who just got 90s, 80s, 100s, you're in control. The rest of you guys, you're also in control. But where are you going? You're going down. You have to decide that you want to pay that price, that you're willing to work. And when you're willing to do that, you will be super, super, super successful. And the vast majority of you, I'm so proud of, because you're doing a great job. And the rest of you guys, you're close.
Thanks.
You're close. You're very, very close. You just have to do what your classmates have done. You don't have to do what Bob Lindquist did. You don't have to do what Mr. Bruno, you could, but you don't have to. You just need to do what your own friends have done. And you know in your heart, when you look around at the kids in the class and you see what they have done, you say to yourself, look, it's not like they're that much smarter than me. Maybe a little tiny bit, maybe not, but they're not like, oh my God, that kid's a super genius, he's so much smarter than me. That's not it at all. It's called that kid is working, and you're not. Okay, now,